So I found this post on the Pokey Investing subreddit that I wanted to share with you all. Phantasmal Flames is going to be a very interesting situation because of sort of the contrast in the set, how it's probably going to be a very popular set because of like this singular card. However, the set is extremely small. So it's kind of, conflicting in the way that, okay, if this card was in a set where there were maybe, I don't know, 12, 13 SARs, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 IRs, this card would be extremely expensive. I think most people could agree on that. But the situation as it is with Phantasmal Flames is that it's just a really small set, but it contains such an amazing card that a lot of people are considering to possibly, and by a wide majority of people, seemingly the best Charizard artwork we've ever seen. And it brings up an interesting situation where how expensive is this card going to be? How much demand is there? Because really, this set being so small, only about, I believe, 5 SARs. I mean, how expensive can this card get when there's only 5 SARs, which means that the pull rate for, a specific SAR is not going to be as hard as, for example, Prismatic Evolutions, where there's 30 plus SARs. So it's going to be much easier to pull this Charizard. But you could also argue there's going to be so much more demand. So you can see here by the title, this card will eventually outperform any card in the modern era, regardless of the set being small. Best looking Pokemon card I've ever seen. So obviously this is a little bit of a hot take because, there only being 5 SARs in the set. I mean, you really think about it, okay, if we're talking about, Scarlet and Violet, you could argue the Umbreon EX from Prismatic Evolutions, that card being extremely hard to pull, and being so valuable, $1,000+ raw. PSA 10 is about $4,000. Is a card like this, even if it is in such high demand, is that gonna, surpass, a card that's that hard to pull, like the Umbreon EX, when, there's only 5 SARs in the set? That's a little bit of a hot take. I don't know if I agree with that, but it probably will be pretty expensive. But I do think this is a little bit stretching it by saying this is going to be the best performing or going to outperform any card, possibly meaning it's going to be the most expensive. I don't think that's going to happen, but I do think it'll be expensive, but it's going to be really hard to sort of guess how expensive. Like, okay, are we talking high hundreds? Are we talking low hundreds? Mid hundreds? It's really anyone's guess because seemingly just looking at this card artwork, I don't know about you guys, but I've ever since we saw the leak right before this, Phantasmal Flames or Inferno X, what we knew was going to be in Phantasmal Flames. I mean, I like this card from the get go, and a lot of people did. Just the artwork, including the Charmander Charmeleon, really adds to the depth of the card artwork and just the two versions X and Y Mega Charizards. It's just honestly, there's not really much to complain here in my opinion. It's a really nice card. I know the Japanese card is, I think it'll pop a lot more than the English card. It's pretty much how it always is, but it's just an amazing artwork. And honestly, I mean, there's the Charizard V from Brilliant Stars, but I don't think it comes close to this. I know it's a little bit of a different sort of artwork design, but I think this is better. Let me know if that's a hot take. I don't know if it is, but I think this card is amazing. But it is going to be a very interesting situation on how expensive it is because it is seemingly probably not going to be that hard to pull because there's only 5 SARs in Phantasmal Flames. So I'll read some of the comments here to see people's takes on this card and how it's going to perform. You guys can let me know what you think will happen to this card. Maybe some price guesses based on the size of the set. You guys can let me know. Definitely getting this in Japanese. The hollow texture really elevates the artwork. When I saw the Japanese one in person, my first thought was I've never seen an English card that would come even close to this level of detail. I mean, that's pretty standard. A lot of people already know that Japanese cards, yeah, there's more texture, it's more shiny than the English cards, but obviously there's more of an English collecting sort of base, at least in the United States, than Japanese cards. I said holy bleep when first saw the card in a high-res picture and could see the fine detail. I will absolutely be spending for this card 3 to 4 months from now in English. It's a must-have. Probably best artwork in the last decade. There's nothing this original poster. You won't see the same level of fine detail in English version, that's for sure. Yeah, I mean, we kind of know that. It won't have this texture in English, but will be 3 to 4 times more expensive. If you appreciate it for the art, you're better off buying the Japanese card. So yeah, I mean, the Japanese pull rates tend to be easier. I don't know exactly how it is with Inferno X on pull rates. I don't know how easy or difficult it is to pull, but generally English cards harder to pull. Plus, I guess quality control is another thing. Um, I agree with you. Actually, I'm afraid the whole Mega Evolution era will be a generational banger. After generational banger, Mega Evolution base set is no joke. There's a possibility this Zard card will be surpassed or equaled more than once in the following sets of Mega Evolution, which is scary. We are in wild territory. Will only cool off when Gen 10 releases. Not even then, maybe. So yeah, it's a very interesting situation with this card. I think everyone just agrees this artwork is amazing. But the thing is how expensive is it going to be on the English side? And if you go and actually look at what cards are going to be in Phantasmal Flames, is basically just everything in Inferno X. You can see here how small of a set this really is. This is going to be, I believe, in the UPC, the Mega Charizard X UPC, I believe. So there's only really 5 SARs here. The Mega Charizard, Rotom, Sharpedo, Lopunny, and the Dawn. That makes 5. And there's going to be one Mega Hyper Rare, the Charizard, which I think this card is going to be extremely expensive. I think it's sort of a given because we see in Mega Evolution there's 2 gold cards and they're both extremely expensive. Obviously, there's only going to be 1 here compared to 2, but this being a Charizard is probably going to be a lot more sought after than Lucario and Gardevoir. Now, knowing that this set is so cheap, or not so cheap, knowing this set is so small, you could compared to the booster box price, you see it's kind of hard to say this is a great buy. Obviously, if you're banking on the cards being extremely expensive, which they could be, maybe this isn't the worst thing ever. But I mean, looking at Mega Evolution, especially now, this just in my opinion, because you guys know me, I'm trying to buy a few boxes of Phantasmal. I've skipped out on Mega to buy Phantasmal. But I still personally don't think this is a great price point. 325. I just don't think that's really a point where it's gonna just be the bottom. I do think it's probably gonna go a little bit lower than this. So I'm personally not buying at 325, even though I do think this is going to be a generational card. And like I said, you look at Mega Evolution, especially recently we've gotten the restock from Pokemon Center. These boxes dropped all the way from their peak at 340 all the way down to 280 now. And you look at Mega Evolution, how expensive it is. You can see the gold cards are very expensive. I really believe that Charizard is probably going to be around the same price, possibly even more. Obviously, there's only 1 gold card to chase in Phantasmal rather than 2 in Mega Evolution, but I think the Charizard is probably still going to be around as expensive, like maybe even more. Looking at the SARs though, you can see there's a lot more things in Mega Evolution to chase after. There's more cards in here, so therefore there's a lot more value in Mega Evolution than what's probably going to be in Phantasmal Flames. The total set value is above $4,000. I don't think Phantasmal Flames is going to be quite there. It's like I said, it's going to be very hard to guess where prices will be for total set value. But if I had to take a wild guess, I'd guess it'd probably be mid 2000s, maybe higher 2000s. It's really gonna just be the Charizard and the gold, Mega Ultra Rare Charizard that's gonna make the set very expensive. Other than that, there's a few cards here that are probably gonna be somewhat expensive, like the Dawn's probably be somewhat expensive. Out of the Sharpedo, Rotom, and Lopunny, I don't know which one would be expensive, but other than those 5 SARs, there's obviously nothing else. There's only 5 SARs. IRs, there's not even that many also. So this set really is just going to be dependent on the gold Charizard and the SAR Charizard. So I highly doubt it's going to be anywhere near $4,000 in total set value for Phantasmal, which is why I just don't think 325 is really a great price to pick it up, and I'm not buying them. But it will be interesting to see how expensive this card will be, because there's going to be a lot of demand. I think that's kind of a given. But the set is so small, so it's sort of a conflicting situation where it's for me, I'm just being cautious because we don't know how things are going to turn out. If there's not maybe as much demand as anticipated, this card isn't going to be that expensive. But if there's a ton of demand, maybe this card, even though it's probably going to be relatively easy to pull compared to like other sets, because there's so little SARs, this card may get expensive. But it's anyone's guess. Who really knows what's going to happen here? It all depends on especially how the market turns out when the set gets released and so on. So you guys can let me know down in the comments below, what do you think will happen to this card? Where do you see the prices landing? That's something to talk about. So you guys can let me know what you think. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.